we'll do a quick around the room here, and then I think I'm just trying to see if we've got some of our other.
Eloise is on.
Eloise is on, okay. We'll get introductions around the room here. First, I'm going to ask my colleague, Lauren, to introduce herself.
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Gibson. I am Dr. Spinrad's Special Advisor on Youth Engagement, and I have the pleasure of working with these amazing high school students.
Very good. Sharissa, would you like to introduce yourself, and then we'll have a chance to introduce the students?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lieutenant Commander Sharissa Friedlander. I'm a NOAA Corps officer, and I've been volunteering with Lauren to help run the Young Changemakers Fellowship. Looking forward to speaking with you all today.
Great. Thank you. Jillian, you want to start? We'll go around the room here and then call on the crowd on the screen.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jillian Stanton. I'm one of the Youth Changemakers, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, hello. My name is Moon Neal. I'm from Clinton, Maryland, and I'm one of the Youth Changemakers here.
Hi, I'm Audrey Huffnagel. I'm from Damascus, Maine, and I am another one of the Youth Changemakers.
Great. And do we have Eloise on the line? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Eloise. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm another Youth Changemaker.
Great. My notes indicate we might have had Cole and Becky. Are they on as well?
Unfortunately, they're sick.
I think Becky might have.
Oh, is
Becky?
Becky?
Oh, there's Becky. Becky, you want to turn your camera on and introduce yourself? Yeah. Earth to Becky.
She might be having some technical issues.
Maybe another second or so, Becky. So I'll tell you what, Becky, if you are able to turn your camera on at some point, we'll try to keep an eye on you and let you introduce yourself. We're going to move on at this point. So you see we've got 3 of our young changemakers here in the room. We've got 2 joining virtually. One's out sick, and actually one is graduating as we speak. And yeah, sorry, screen's changing. I'm just trying to keep up with it. There you are, Becky. Good. You want to try coming off mute and introducing yourself?
Hi, sorry, my internet's up right now. Sorry.
You're coming in just fine. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Becky. I'm from a small town in Wisconsin, Newburgh. My connection, do you want my whole backstory?
No, I think that's probably good for now.
Okay.
You'll have a chance to chat here a little bit more once we get through the introductory material, but glad you were able to connect. Thank you. Welcome. And let me just tee this session up. It's a very special session, and it goes back to July of last year when these high school students who just introduced themselves from across the country agreed to an experiment, agreed to collaborate with us here at NOAA to figure out what it might look like for us here at NOAA to bring youth perspective into the agency. And when I say that, I mean actually into this office. This is the headquarters of NOAA. This is my headquarters office, and be engaged in policy discussions, get a sense of what it is to develop policy and be engaged in policy. This was really a brand new way of engaging young people by the federal government. Not the usual kind of get a scholarship, come work at a laboratory, which are wonderful programs, but we wanted to try something different. We invited these students to come in to build their skills in taking community level action for the ocean and environment, asked each one of them to design a project with guidance from a NOAA mentor. We have 12,000 scientists, engineers, technologists, policy makers here at NOAA. So we had a rich set of folks to act as mentors. But more importantly, we also asked these young change makers to challenge us. They met several times with me, even had a very brief meeting with the Secretary of Commerce when they first came here into town, and had a chance to talk with any number of NOAA staff and share their thoughts on some key NOAA priorities. The timing was such that we were getting ready to go to the COP28, the big climate conference last year in Dubai. So I had an opportunity to talk with these young change makers about their views and approaches to dealing with issues like equitable climate services, and lending a youth voice to what would be the official government position in that very influential meeting. And now, here, almost a year later, we've invited them back to participate in CHOW, Capitol Hill Ocean Week, but also to share some of the results of that year's fellowship. And I just got to say, personally, it's hard for me to believe that a year has actually gone by. It seems like we were sitting in these offices down the hall just last week, it feels like. Before I turn over the mic to the students, let me give a few of my own personal reflections, and hopefully you'll get a sense, our guests on the call here, will get a sense of why we wanted to do this. We talk a lot about youth being the leaders of tomorrow, and that's fine, but I actually think it's wrong of leaders of today, and I consider myself one, to basically say, well, wait, come back in 20 years and you'll have an opportunity to demonstrate that leadership. That I really want the benefit of your perspective. You've demonstrated through your initial participation in this fellowship that you do understand the issues, you understand the science, you understand the policy concerns, you care deeply about these issues. And to me, that's 95% like the entry ticket, if you will, to being involved in policy discussions. The projects that you've undertaken, folks will get a chance to hear about your projects here in a minute. And I think you all in the audience will understand how those projects dovetail with the opportunity to learn about policy development. I've personally seen it. I've seen any number of very senior folks in the community literally do double takes when they heard many of you participate in a variety of meetings and policy discussions. And to one extent, that's unfortunate, because I don't want to see people discounting your view as the first approach. I want to get us to a point where we're talking less about how to youth engage and more about listening to youth actually participating in the policy discussion. So I hope that you grow to see these young people, as I have over the year, as important partners and stakeholders. And I urge you to take this session both as inspiration and as a call to action. We're going to continue the Young Changemakers program here in the year to come. These presenters led their projects and engaged deeply in this fellowship, all while being full-time students. And in fact, some are graduating as we speak. Many of you had to miss meetings because you were applying to college or taking final exams. So I am absolutely delighted to be here for the culmination of this first round. I realize there's things that we need to do to improve the process, and I appreciate that you all are bringing those comments and thoughts into the dialogue as well. And at this point, I'm just going to turn it over to, I am going to turn it over to the Young Changemakers themselves and ask you to walk through your presentations, your thoughts. And Audrey, I think we've got you keyed up first to be the first presenter, so the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, so I grew up in Maine, on the Maine coast. I was born in Damariscotta, which is like a town of about 2,000 people right on the Damariscotta River. And I first got involved in climate stuff when I was in middle school, just because I was starting to learn about the climate crisis, and I was worried about the impact it would have on these places that I love. And so I got connected to a lot of work on the Maine state level. So getting involved in policy work in Maine, advocating for a climate education bill that's provided $2 million of funding for climate education for Maine teachers. And through that work, I got connected with this NOAA Fellowship, which was a really amazing opportunity for me to be able to learn about the things that are going on the national level, and to really learn a lot about what the US government is doing, what NOAA is doing, and also to carry out this project in my community. So my project was focused on youth engagement, specifically engaging other young people in climate policy work and climate action, using my own experiences, my own network in Maine to kind of facilitate these opportunities for young people to learn more. So I went into schools and I talked to students, presented about climate change and how it's impacting Maine, what they can do about it. And I also helped organize a workshop series throughout the year with sessions where participants could dive in more deeply to how to write testimony, how to talk to legislators, and those various things with a lot of really amazing guest speakers. So that's basically the overview of my project. The main focus of it was really educating young people on how to take action. I think climate education is very important, but climate change is also an issue that's happening now. It's affecting the world now. So teaching young people how to be involved and how to take action has a really immediate impact to that. So.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's keep going.
Hello. I got engaged with more environmental speak starting within my school in elementary school. We had a green club. We picked up trash recycling and we got some compost from the cafeteria and we recycled. Moved on to middle school where I had a small green club and I kind of incorporated green club and drama and theater during that time period, which just rolled over when I got into high school where I made my school go green for the first time in, from what I understand, a long time in 2022. And I just kind of kept being the president of my environmental club, helping cleaning up in just my school and my community. And my project mainly was focused on how I can just make my community, people who don't have financial and social advantages, feel as though they can still do something for the environment, can benefit their lives, make it better, and make the environment better by small things at home. And I'm using art and animation to create that.
Yeah, I love that marriage of climate issues and the arts. It's a real STEAM approach, right? Science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Great, thank you. Joey?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a native Texan, born and raised. So I've grown up loving the Texas environment and really being very into animals and protecting wildlife. Fully convinced I was the next Jane Goodall. And so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up to volunteer at my local zoo, which has been a really great experience getting to meet people that work in that field. But a comment made to me one time by one of the zoologists about how zoos might be the only place that these animals are ever seen again for future generations. And so looking at, these animals I love and that I worked with really closely being threatened by things like habitat degradation and climate change, ocean acidification. And so that really inspired me to be interested in those activities and those kind of environmental challenges and look at how I could be more involved with that. So I became involved kind of similar to Moon with things in my city, my school's environmental club, and my city's Keep Allen Beautiful, our little chapter of Keep America Beautiful. And through that, I got this opportunity, which has been incredible. And so my project is really focused on environmental education and kind of helping youth in Texas connect to accurate, trustworthy resources about climate change and the different environmental factors in Texas in a way that is easily understood by people who don't have a Ph.D. in science. And so I think this experience has been really incredible. I've been able to connect with students similar to Audrey. I've done some talks at my high school, kind of going through like the NOAA climate report on the $1 billion disaster map, and then working with different libraries in the area to connect in ways about like environmental books, picture books, and kind of how to communicate that to younger youth. So yeah.
Great. Thank you, Joey. Becky, would you like to go next?
Sure. Okay, so as you guys heard before, I'm from Wisconsin, a small town, Newburgh. I grew up on my family's farm. I'm the 5th generation here. I also live near Lake Michigan and spent a lot of summers camping up north in Wisconsin. So all these things have sort of given me a really good appreciation for the land, as well as developed a kind of responsibility and just really made me understand the connection that people have with the land that they live on. And so when I got involved with fellowship, I reached out to the University of Milwaukee because their field station is right down the road from me. So a lot of the work they do is on land that I am familiar with and ecosystems that I'm familiar with. So I got connected with one of their adjunct professors who set me up doing their bioacoustic annual monitoring program. So that I basically did the data analysis and the research side of this program that they have. It starts out with a device that kind of looks like a trail camera for hunting. It's set up it's a marsh area. It's called the bog. It's set up in the bog, and it collects audio samples throughout the year. Then I would analyze those audio samples for occupancy and abundance of frog species based on the intensities of the calls in the audio samples. So basically, it's a way of monitoring the populations of frogs in this natural area. And then they compare population trends over years with climatic data, such as temperature, precipitation. So over, it's just monitoring frog species and seeing how frogs react to different climatic events. So with this, I was able to see a little bit of the connection between the climate and then the land that I feel a connection to, and in that way feel connected to the climate. And then I took my experiences with this research and presented at a couple different high school classes, and then as well as elementary and middle school classes to share my findings and share the connections I discovered.
Great. Thank you, Becky. Eloise, the floor is yours.
So I first got involved with my school's ecology club as a sophomore because of the online freshman year. So I kind of joined as a way to make friends and see other people who were interested in the same thing. And our main task was to collect all the recycling around my school's campus, and just every Tuesday seeing how much trash and other things that can't be recycled and having to pick that out, and seeing firsthand how much goes to the landfill really sticks with you. And so at the end of my sophomore year, I got involved with an internship through a local nonprofit that kind of introduces young children or young teens to different careers in the environmental field. And I definitely took an interest to the park ranger type of career and seeing what they do on a day-to-day basis. And so through that, I got involved with this fellowship. And so my project, I kind of took my training from the ecology club and waste and my knowledge of how horrible landfills are and the water pollution that kind of is prevalent in my area. And so I developed a kind of drive-through style material collection where people can drop off styrofoam, batteries, small electronics, and other materials that you can't really put in your regular recycling bin. So I did that this past April, I think April 27th, and did a whole kind of day-long event where people could drive through and drop their stuff off. And then at the end, I would drop all the materials off at the partners I made connections with in my area and make sure those materials were properly disposed of.
Thank you. So that was a really good quick rundown, and it gave you, the audience, a sense of the really impressive diversity of projects that cover a range of some of the technical aspects of trying to improve recycling programs to what these students were doing to raise awareness of communities, classmates, family members, which is exactly what we were hoping the projects would represent, this diversity. What we're going to do now is we've got a few questions for the students themselves, for the young change makers. And I want the audience to be thinking about what questions you've got for this group, because after we go through a couple of questions, and I'll give each of the young change makers an opportunity to respond to these questions. Eloise, I'll give you a heads up. I'm going to go in reverse order on the first question, okay? And for the audience, think about what questions you've got when we're done with these two questions that I've got here. And the first question is really about the value, what you bring to the table. So let me try to set the context for this. When I sit in this chair and I have to do things like build a budget or work on a major policy, I want to make sure that around the room I've got different values represented. So I may have the head of the National Marine Fisheries Service, who is here to make sure that we have sustainable fisheries and that we adhere to the laws that we have to respond to. And I may also have my general counsel who wants to make sure that we're doing everything according to standard process. And I may have somebody who's in charge of driving our ships. They each bring different values, different perspectives. So the question is, what unique value does each of you think youth bring to the table, either in environmental work generally or in kind of the government decisions that we have to make about environmental issues? Eloise, you want to start?
Yeah. So thinking about this question, it kind of reminded me of when I helped intern with children reading below grade level. And like an activity we would do, we kind of stop halfway through a story and ask them, what would you do in this situation if the character was facing a problem? And just hearing all of their different problem solving and all of that, it was sometimes not realistic, but they always had a belief in themselves and would say, if this kid was getting late or was late to school every day, he should just build a train or something. And so just hearing the lack of perceived barriers was definitely something that I think youth can bring, and just they're not weighed down by past experiences where it's like, oh, this never happened, so we're not even going to think about that. But even if it's an unrealistic idea, any idea is a step up from none at all. So I just think any sort of effort towards solving a problem is just a great way to get started.
That's a really good point. Yeah, we are sometimes handcuffed by our experiences, aren't we? And without those handcuffs, you can think a lot freer. Thank you. That's a great response. Becky, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would, I agree with everything Eloise said, but then building off of that, I think, like talking about like the passion and not being bogged down by the past, I think youth are really, like, you can get, especially like kids and even teenagers, like you can get them passionate about these ideas. And I think it's easier to mobilize or like get a lot of people of this age group excited about this. Youth are full of hope. They aren't bogged down by ideas, or they're not super busy, or have like, they're more willing to try new ideas or think of new things, or they're less likely to shut down. And I think because of that, they are a very good source of positive energy and a source of momentum to help solve these problems.
That's a great point. Some of us sat through a session here earlier today here in DC, and it was on youth engagement. And one of the speakers said, and basically looked at the older folks in the audience and said, it can't all be about doom and gloom. There's got to be some hope in there. And I think that's what you're saying as well. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Julie?
Yeah. I think that a lot of the time, especially looking at environmental issues and kind of long-term problems, I think that youth often have a greater dedication to the problem, to committing to fixing it, because, in the long run, we're going to be the ones who are around to deal with the worsened consequences. And I think growing up kind of in a digital age of Instagram and TikTok and whatever, we're able to kind of see in real time firsthand the experiences of people all around the globe as they face worsening effects of climate change, whether that's hurricanes or other storms, natural disasters. And so I think that kind of growing up in this global world where it feels like we're friends with people who have faced all of these horrible things, I think a lot of youth have a deeper sense of empathy for international solutions and a drive to not only help their own country, but to kind of help the whole world heal from this.
So it's personal. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I gotta say, youth brings creativity. A lot of school structures about getting the right answer and getting the right way to get to the right answer. And I feel as though a lot of adults grew up on this. This is the way it needs to be. And the youth, because of technology, also because of individualism and creativity and just energy, because there's some people who have been sitting here doing this for a while and become desensitized to what's going on. We're like a lovely essential shot of emotion and creativity, and we don't care about the box because we've seen it and it's not working. So we're breaking it and we're building something new. And youth just redefines what is the limits. And just like Eloise had stated before about the kids, they have so many ideas that from their age and right now from our perspective doesn't look like a possibility, but so is the computer and the phone and fast travel. So it's important.
Human element. Mm-hmm. A lot of what you're talking. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Audrey?
Yeah, I mean, I really agree with what Moon said and what Eloise said. I think that young people really have a different perspective on the challenges in the world and also the solutions. And I think that those perspectives
and just like different ways of looking at the world are really important to incorporate when thinking about climate solutions and when thinking about really solving climate change on a systemic level, like not just like transitioning to clean energy, but really solving these problems and these systems that have caused climate change. And I think also, you know, as young people, it's important that we use our voices because all these issues that are currently affecting our planet will only get worse in the future if we don't do something. This is the future we're stepping into. And I think it's really important that we act now to use our voices. It's not like, you know, we can wait till we're grown up and have a job to do this. Like, this is the time that we have to take action on climate change while there is still time. So I think that's super important that we do that. And I think it's really great that now there are these greater opportunities for youth engagement in the government, and having opportunities like this fellowship and having finally having government organizations like start to look to youth for perspectives. I think that's really important.
Great. Thank you, Audrey. So that fresh perspective is the element. And I've just been reminded that another one of our Young Changemakers, Cole Perkins, has joined us. My screen keeps popping around.
I know his voice is out, so I'm not sure if he's able to.
Cole, you want to wave to us? Can you turn your camera on and just wave to us? I don't want to force you to speak, but just so people can see you. Or not. There we go.
Oh,
There he is. Okay, folks, you saw him. There you go. Good to speak. Oh, thank you. And I won't force you to speak. If you want to, you're more than welcome to interrupt me. Glad you could join us. So let's shift gears to the second of these questions, and I'm going to go in the reverse order again. So Audrey, you're up first. And this one is about, so we just talked about the values in great set of answers. I heard everything from being unconstrained by experience to hopefulness, dedication and empathy, creativity and sensitivity, fresh perspective. Really, really important values invoked in those responses. The next question is about advice. And with the benefit of having been part of this fellowship now for a year and the experiences that you were afforded through the fellowship, what advice do you have for organizations that are looking to empower youth voices? And if you could, in your answer, talk about perhaps how the experience of the fellowship kind of informs the advice that you have for organizations who are looking to empower youth voices.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things that's been really amazing about this fellowship is just not only having this opportunity to develop our projects and to build our skills with the support from our mentors and from everyone here at NOAA, but also to learn about how these government systems work and to actually be able to share our opinions and share our voices about like policy, and to get to meet with people who are very high-ranking government officials and share our voices. And providing youth with that platform is super important. I think for a long time, youth have not had that kind of platform, and it's really amazing to finally see that happening. And I think that for organizations that are looking to engage youth, having programs like this where young people can really learn about the systems of government and really know like how to make a change is super important. And also really like truly listening to what young people have to say. I think Dr. Spinrad and Lauren and just everybody here has really taken into account what we've said and like actually like taken steps to take action on it. And I think that that is super important because like youth like have really important perspectives to share. And I also think that, like this relationship can be both like beneficial to us as young people, giving us like career opportunities and just so many learning opportunities, but also really beneficial to organizations because young people can learn about different jobs that they can have within organizations. I've learned about a lot of different jobs in NOAA and other agencies that I could potentially have that I didn't know before coming into this fellowship. So I think it's very much a mutually beneficial relationship, having young people, giving young people a voice and a place to make a change. And I think that also just like really recognizing the power of young people, and I kind of already touched on this, but like supporting youth in whatever the capacity they can make a change in their communities and really like recognizing that every action that young people can take is super important. And every story and every voice is super important. So the more voices and stories that you can uplift and support is really good.
Good, thank you. Cool. Advice?
Allow if you want to do a program like this to agencies, I want to say allow creativity, let them be dauntless, let their imaginations run wild and support it, because at the end of the day, like, the only reason everybody can sit here and from their homes and watch and listen in is because some kid, some teen, some young adult was allowed to imagine further enough and was supported by somebody to get it done, to make it happen. And then in NOAA, I was like, in NOAA, when I was first introduced, I had stated, I just want to draw. I want to include drawing and environmental together. This is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I want to do it. And our lovely sponsors, amazing, they were like, yeah, sure, we'll figure it out. Let's do it. And gave a lot of creative freedom and support towards it. So always have, as someone who's helping these these young adults, kind of step into this role and be a part of their future, because that's what it is. It's our future that we're influencing. Be realistic, and yes, help them set goals and a proper plan, but also don't crush what their imagination is, because that's truly what makes youthful and allows projects like these to exist, because each one of us has a different take in what we want to happen, and they're all amazing, and they're all important, and they're all supported. And everyone here, from what I understand, is doing the NOAA Fellowship and their project from here onwards. So just allow us to imagine, allow us to create.
Great, thank you. Joy?
Yeah, I think that one thing that has made this fellowship really great is that it's kind of a mutual benefit for both us as the youth fellows, but also as NOAA as an agency. And I think that that's one thing that's made it really cool, is that it kind of fits naturally into what NOAA's already doing in a way that is beneficial, like I said, for both parties. So while, we're getting awesome funding and great mentorship from NOAA employees and scientists around the country, they're also receiving, our new perspectives, and also people who might be interested in working for NOAA in the future. And so I think that being able to find a relationship, if you're looking to work with youth, that is really helpful for both your organization or your agency, as well as the people that you're looking to involve, is the best way to ensure kind of a natural connection and a genuine engagement that will really help kind of both your organization and the youth grow even further past that.
So I want to, the question is about advice, and I think what you were saying is it can't just be a partnership, it's got to be a relationship. That's the advice. Am I hearing that right?
I think that like an ingenuine approach to youth engagement is almost worse than just having it at all. Like you don't want to just have your youth come sit there for a picture, but like
actually, we did it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But actually form something that is kind of really long lasting and meaningful in regards to kind of the changes that could be made.
Good, thank you. Let's go to Becky. Questions about advice.
Yeah, I would say my biggest takeaway from this fellowship was that when I started, I really had no idea what I was doing, or what my vision was for the fellowship, or what my specific project was going to be. And so for me, one thing that was super valuable was my mentorship from the field station, from the researchers that I worked with at the field station, because they helped set me up with, they gave me an idea of what I could do and how this research project with the frogs that I could do would fit my idea for like my overall plan of connecting my local ecosystem with the climate in general. So I guess my takeaway from that is working with youth, they maybe don't know what they can do until you give them that opportunity or show them all the things that they could do and all the ways that they can get involved. So both making it easy, accessible, explaining it to the youth, and just like giving them a means of achieving what they want to do, because they may want to help and they don't know how.
Yep. Yep. It's really good advice. Eloise.
I think Moon really articulated what I was thinking, but I just kind of wanted to emphasize the importance of open-ended discussion, because I've been in internships where a lot of times it's mostly lecture and kind of opinions already decided for you and kind of fed to you. But in this internship or this fellowship, there's so much open-ended discussion where I've had time to really think about, what how do I feel about this issue, and just forming my own opinions and forming my own way of solving a problem, which is just super helpful for everything, in life, really, like not just for environmental issues, but that problem solving and, having other people to bounce ideas off of. And so that's my piece of advice, is to just have an open floor, and really, it's okay if, there's silence and not every minute is filled with talking, and just, let people kind of marinate, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, that's my advice.
I love it. Marinate. I love it. Thank you.
Okay.
The insights that you provided, the advice that you have provided is really extraordinary and extremely helpful. I suspect it reflects some of what you heard, Lauren, in the discussions with the Young Changemakers previously yesterday. So thank you for that. We have about 10 minutes, a little under, to open up the discussion more broadly. I'd like to ask our audience, feel free to put your hand up, or if you don't want to try to figure out how to put your hand up, just when you're watching it, Lieutenant Commander Friedlander is watching the screen as well. All I'd ask is, when you ask a question, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Are you a student? Where do you live? So looks like we've got Claire. Is that right, Teresa?
Yes, Claire has her hand up. Yes.
Claire, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Claire Fackler here. I work for the NOAA Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, and I helped with one of my paid interns. We helped design and create and run the NOAA Ocean Guardian Youth Ambassador Program. So there's about 250 13 to 18-year-old students around the United States and our U.S. territories that are doing something similar to what you're doing, but on a more local connection to ocean conservation and stewardship, but trying to be a change maker at their school or in their local community. So anyway, so lucky that all of you are getting to work directly with Dr. Spinrad and Dr. Gibson. So I hope you continue to take advantage of that opportunity. My question is, what do you envision your connection to NOAA? What does it look like in the future? I'm just curious.
So floor's open. I'll let any or all of our young change makers respond. If you can just kind of signal or just jump right in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I am definitely hoping to stay involved with this program. It's definitely like this youth engagement work is something that I've been doing through my fellowship, and is something that I'm just really interested in doing more generally. And yeah, just like, I think it's a really great opportunity to learn about. I've had a great opportunity to learn about some of the careers available. I would definitely consider potentially working for NOAA in the future, or working on similar careers.
You guys have a animated show going on, and if I get the opportunity, I want to work whenever, during college, after college, during the summer. I think this is lovely, and I think the insight of media in NOAA will be very important. And as someone who deals with media on a day-to-day basis, I feel as though I have a chance.
Others?
Yeah, I think my answer is pretty similar to Audrey's. I'm really interested in environmental policy in that kind of field, and I know that NOAA does a lot of really interesting work working with Congress and the administration and things like that. So we all the three of us at least here, all just graduated high school. So I think going on, we're all thinking a lot about our careers and stuff like that. And like Audrey said, it's definitely, I feel like this fellowship has really opened just kind of like my mind to the hundreds of thousands of jobs that are available both in NOAA and in kind of the rest of the federal government that I had literally no idea existed. So it's been really cool to kind of learn about that and learn about potential pathways I could take.
Thank you. Becky or Eloise, do you want to comment?
Yeah, adding on to what they were saying, like not only like learning about different careers in the government and like working for the federal government, which is something I never really thought about before. I also have like people that I know, and not just like sources of information, but sources of information that are people that I can ask my questions to. Like I remember last year when I was in DC, I asked Lauren, is NOAA a nice government agency? Like, are the people there nice? I mean, it's kind of like a silly question. You can't just type that into Google and find it out. But I would say one of the biggest things in the future for me is going to be the people that I met that will be mentors, and I can like reach out and ask them really open-ended questions like that and hear their input.
I love that. And the answer is yes, we are a nice agency. Eloise, do you want to comment?
Sure. I really agree with what Becky said. Just forming that partnership with my mentor this past year. I know that I have a partner within NOAA who I can go to whenever I have questions about maybe a future career or just anything really. So I hopefully will be able to keep that friendship and relationship throughout the rest of my life.
That's great.
And I do want to actually jump in there for just a second because we have some of our mentors on the call and want to give a shout out.
Good.
We've been getting smiles as the names popped up. Alexandria Gillen is the one Eloise was just mentioning. Casey Ralston was paired with Audrey. Brian Davis was paired with Kenisha, who's walking across the graduation stage right now. Elise was paired with Moon. And I love the shout out in your comment about openness and everything. I know that's something that you've really talked with Eloise about. Yes. And so just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of our absolutely incredible mentors and say how amazing it's been to have all of you on the team.
Amen to that. Thank you to all of the mentors. Couldn't have done the program without you. Really appreciate it. And Claire, thank you for that question. I want to make a quick editorial comment, and we're just about out of time, but I want to give you the last word. Say a few words, if you would. And my editorial comment is this, that I was listening very carefully to your answers to Claire's question. My going in belief with respect to this fellowship is that if people come out of this and say, A, I want to be an environmental scientist or environmental policymaker, or B, I want to come work for NOAA, that's great, that's fine. But if you decide to go be a lawyer or start a soap making company or do anything, you will have learned a lot about environmental policy, how it's made, and you will be better informed citizens. And to me, that is just as important as having the best and brightest come work at this agency, because we need you to elected to Congress. We need you working as CEOs in major corporations and being familiar with these issues. So that's always going to be a driver for me. And I think I kind of inferred that was part of the sense too, that you've got a passion for environmental issues, and that's not something you're going to lose over time. With that, Lauren, we're just about out of time, but you have been instrumental in really making this happen. And I want to give you an opportunity to say what's ever on your mind as we close up this session.
I appreciate that. First of all, thank you for being so supportive of this. Thank you to Sharisa for volunteering her time in addition to her full-time job. Lisa Kim isn't able to make it here, but she was also super instrumental, as were a million interns who have helped us along the way.
And we're zooming in on Lauren so you can see.
And just a huge thank you to all of the change makers. You all have been the greatest first class that we could think to have. And just thank you for coming along on this ride with us, right? Like Dr. Spinrad said, it's a new program. We know it wasn't perfect. We learned so much from each and every one of you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. We are so, so, so excited to see what you all continue to do, and we're so excited to stay in touch.
Thank you.
And I will also mention, for those of you who are in person in DC today, we have a lovely chat with the Changemakers who are also in person here, down in the Reagan building in Oceanic B. If you would like to join us for some cheese and crackers and conversation, we would love to see anyone who is in person in DC with us. Thank you all.
And so with that, we will conclude. Thank you all for participating to the Changemakers. It has been a real pleasure to get to know you, work with you. I look forward to watching your careers. So congratulations. Thank you. Bye-bye.